So in this tutorial, we are going to see about how to actually store and collaborate our codes on a real-time basis on a, say, a platform like cloud. So with this web page, earlier, what we have done is that by logging into our credentials, we were trying to save our code in this web page hosted by the Make Code. So, suppose now we want to actually save our code wherein other people's or your other friends can collaborate more on your code, then we need something called as a GitHub. So, we are going to see about how to save our code and collaborate in a better way in a GitHub platform. So, to begin with, let us create a new project. Okay, let me name the new project as GitHub demo 1. Okay, so I'm going to create a project called as GitHub demo 1 for this tutorial. I hope you remember this, how to create this kind of a file using the Microsoft Make Code. So the process is same what we have seen in our first lectures, and we are going to elaborate more towards going on collaborating and storing our codes on a GitHub platform. So once I press this button create, it is going to create a file, and on this file I can write my code. So let us begin with some basic example for a code. I will just put some say LED here on this button, and maybe I can put some icon here on a for while loop to show something. And what I can do more is I can put some input button on button A press. Let me show some input. So let us show some, say, arrow. So it is going to show arrow colors north. So this is my code. So once I click save, this will be saved to my the login which I've created here, so that I can always view this code. But you can also see on the bottom of the screen there is a one icon with this shape. This is the GitHub icon. So if I press this button, then this is going to take me to my GitHub uh, repositories. Okay, so let me click on this one. So once I click this on this one, it is going to ask you what should be your name of the repository. So let us keep it GitHub demo 11. And once I press the go ahead button, so what it is going to do is that it is going to prepare this GitHub repository, and it is going to open this page. So prior to starting with the GitHub, you have to first of all create your account in GitHub. So how to go into that page is that you can just type in this web server GitHub, uh, GitHub, like this one. And here you can see that this web page will open up. In this web page you can create your one login, so that this will open your dashboard. So right now my login is created, so already this dashboard is open. So I will advise you first of all to create a login in this web page by signing in with your credentials. And once this GitHub is open, you can safely return to this make code. So if you are starting this project newly, then this GitHub is going to ask you about your GitHub extension or your login ID. Since I've already logged in, this is not asking me, but you will see this login page once you are try to log in into this GitHub page. Okay. So once you create the repository, you can click on this button and you can go ahead, and it is going to create this demo one repository. So let us see what it has created in the repository. Let us wait for some time before it creates this repository in the GitHub pages, and then we'll see the output. Okay. So The code is already here. Now you can see that this arrow and with this tick is coming, so that now the repositories are created in our project. So now if I click on this one, it is going to ask me that do you want to upload your code to this repository, what you have created. So whatever you do, you can save your code, and basically this button is what it says, that commit and push changes. So this means that whatever changes you make in your code, you're going to push in a real-time basis on the GitHub. So if the your other fellow mates or your friends are having access to this the link provided by you, then they can also see your code and suggest some changes which you can see on a real time basis. So let us make some changes in our code. Let us make this arrow as say east, and let us now publish this code to my GitHub. So once I go, you can see that I have made some changes to the east. So it is showing that there are some changes. So let me push. So let me write description what changes I have done. So I have changed arrow to east. So once I make this comment and push, so it is going to push my changes in code to my GitHub repository, which is this GitHub demo one repository. So it is already done. If you want to visualize in the GitHub environment, you can click on this icon. So once you click on this icon, it is going to take you to this GitHub. So now you can see that so many files this GitHub has created so that your code run so that your code runs properly. So all these files are there. This is the README page. If you're very new to the GitHub, it will have one README page where you can describe about your code, so that the other peoples which are viewing this file, they can see what your code talks about. And this is your code, main.ts. Here you can see your code. So it is written in the form of the languages which we have seen earlier with our make code. So if I go to make code, and if I choose blocks, and if I choose JavaScript, you can see that this is our code. Input dot button pressed button a function, then it is show written basic dot show arrow name east. So the same thing, if you go to your GitHub, the same code is also coming here. That means that your code has been pushed to the server. Okay, you can make some changes here also in this file. So what you have to do is you have to say your friend is working or your colleague is working on this code, and they find that though this code has some errors. So what they can do is they can edit this file, and suppose they see that the error is that the arrow should point to the south. So they can make this changes like what I have done. Instead of east, I have made it south. Then they can comment the changes, and they can say that arrow is changed to south. Okay, so this is the changes which I have done, and it is changed to the south. So now I publish this with this changes I have done, and publish my this one to the GitHub. And if I now go to the code and see that I have written that main.ts update main arrow is changed to south. So this is the recent update which I have done. So it is saying that now I've changed, made some changes in the GitHub. Okay, so this is already, you can see that this is changed to south. You can see this icon, it is still working on. So we have that the GitHub is building these pages. So we can wait for some time so that these codes are set up by the GitHub, and it is deployed to the GitHub pages. So once this is deployed and the success job came, then you can again go to the code, and you can see that everything is fine, and you have the perfectly all right code here. So this green arrow which shows that everything has been computed successfully at the GitHub. Now what you can do is, since you are working on the make code, and you find that maybe your friend has changed something, so what you can do is you can go to the GitHub, and now this icon, you can see it is highlighted, and it is showing that there are some changes which has been done. So you can, what you can do is you can pull those changes to your code here. So if I press this button pull, then whatever my colleague has changed in the code will come to my code. So in my code, as you know that the arrow is showing as the east, but I understand that my friend who is working on this code has found some errors, and maybe he had changed something. So let me pull this changes to my code, and let me go to my script. So now you can see that instead of east, it is now showing south. So that means this is the changes which has been done, and my arrow has been changed to south. So you can also, what you can do is you can also see the history. But suppose you say that maybe your friend has, maybe has erred or made some mistakes, then what you can do is you can always revert to the old pattern. So your friend, you can see that he has changed, this arrow is changed to south, that is what he has written in this commit, and you have changed earlier to the east. So what you can do is you can always revert this changes to the old one. So that is also possible with this history tab in this page. So now if you feel that maybe your friend or your colleague was has error, and maybe he has done some wrong changes, then you can again go to this tab. It will ask you restore, and you can safely click this button restore, so that now your project will be restored to the earlier. So earlier we have made that my arrow should point to east on button A pressed. So that is the perfect pattern. That is what you say. Okay. So again, since you have made the changes, you have restored your project to the again this one. So now maybe everything is fine, and you can create some release for this one. So if you want to release a project, what you can do is you can type this button, and you can you can press this button, and you can see that you can create different versions. So being it is the first version, you can go for 00.1, and you can create the release. So once this is released, then this the code is released for maybe executing in some microchips or your some boards, and you can work on it. So it shows that GitHub page is released to version 0.0.1. Okay. So once you go here, and if you go to code, then you can see that your friend can see that you have changed this to again, you have restored, you have used this option restored, and also you have made one release. So this is the JSON file. You can see that now it has come up with the version 001. So you can also watch in the GitHub. So this is the complete, you can see that JSON file has come up. So in this way, what you can do is, I advise that you can practice more on this GitHub, working with make codes, do more collaborations with your colleagues, and store your code safely on the GitHub platforms. That is also possible, and this buttons comes into very handy with our this button. So if you want to learn more about this GitHub, you can always go to this GitHub's docs.github.com, and you can actually practice on some tutorials like getting started, so that you know more about the GitHubs. So in this way we can use Microbit to store and collaborate on GitHub. I hope you find this tutorial useful, and by practicing and learning more, you'll be able to make a proper utilization of this feature in MakeCode. Thank you. Bye for now.